My name is Joseph, and I never thought I'd come this close to death. I'd spent years in the music industry, programming beats and spinning records as a DJ, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened on New Year's Eve. The subway was crowded that night. It always is on New Year's Eve. People were heading to parties, celebrating, laughing. I was just trying to get home after a long night of work. My head was buzzing, not from alcohol, but from exhaustion. I'd played a long set, and all I wanted was my bed. I stepped onto the platform at 49th Street Station, waiting for the train. The cold air seeped through my jacket, and I pulled it tighter around me. That's when I noticed him. A man stood a few feet away, shifting from one foot to the other. He was tall and wiry, with sunken cheeks and eyes that seemed too wide, too alert. He was mumbling to himself, his fingers twitching. Something about him made my stomach turn. New York is full of strange people, so I told myself to ignore him. But then, he looked right at me. His lips curled into a grin, a slow, deliberate smile that made my skin crawl. My instincts screamed at me to move, to walk away, but I stayed frozen. The distant hum of an approaching train filled the tunnel. People shifted, inching closer to the edge. I checked my phone, trying to act casual, but my heart was pounding. Then, everything happened too fast. A rough shove slammed into my back. My body lurched forward, and before I could react, I was falling. Time slowed. The screams of bystanders echoed through the station. The ground rushed toward me, my hands flailing to break the fall. My head hit the metal rail, and a sharp pain exploded through my skull. I barely registered the blinding light of the train's headlights, the screech of brakes. Luckily, the train operator saw me at the last second and pulled the emergency brakes. Somehow, I had landed in the small space between the rails, just inches from being crushed. Pain flooded my body. My ribs felt like they had been smashed with a sledgehammer, and my head throbbed like it had been split in two. Blood pooled in my mouth. I tried to move, but agony pinned me down. Voices shouted above me. Someone was calling for help. Sirens wailed in the distance. The next thing I remember was being lifted onto a stretcher, bright lights burning my eyes. Paramedics spoke to me, but their words blurred together. The world faded in and out. I woke up in a hospital bed, my body wrapped in bandages. My head was pounding. The room smelled of antiseptic, the steady beep of machines filling the silence. A nurse leaned over me. "You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Linsky." Lucky? I felt like I had been hit by a truck. Then, the memories came flooding back. The subway, the shove, the cold tracks beneath me. My stomach twisted. The nurse told me my injuries, a cracked skull, fractured ribs, a ruptured spleen, but I was alive, barely. Then came the news that made my blood run cold. "They caught him," she said. "The man who pushed you. His name is Kamel." A few days later, the police visited my hospital room. They showed me a mugshot. It was him. Kamel had a long history of violent crime: assault, robbery, drug possession. He had been in and out of jail for years, yet he was still walking the streets, free to push an innocent person in front of a train. I stared at his picture, my fingers clenching the hospital blanket. His eyes, those same wide, empty eyes, stared back at me. "He didn't say why he did it?" I asked. One of the officers shook his head. No real motive, just said he felt like it. A chill ran down my spine. This man had tried to kill me for no reason. No argument, no provocation. Just a sick desire to see someone suffer. Even after Kamel was arrested, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I was back on that platform, feeling the force of his hands on my back. The train's headlights burned into my mind. One night, I woke up gasping for air, my heart hammering. Sweat drenched my sheets. I grabbed my phone and scrolled through the news. Kamel's trial was approaching. The prosecutors were pushing for attempted murder charges. I needed to see him again. Against the advice of my doctors and friends, I attended one of his hearings. I needed closure. When I walked into the courtroom, my ribs still aching. Kamel was already sitting there in an orange jumpsuit. His hands were cuffed, his posture slouched. Then he looked up. That same grin spread across his face. It was subtle, just the corner of his lips curling, but I saw it. My stomach twisted. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't afraid. He was enjoying this. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. I wanted to shout, to ask him why. But what good would that do? This man has no soul. The judge read the charges, and for the first time, Kamel's grin faded. Reality was sinking in. Months have passed, but the scars, both physical and emotional, are still there. Kamel Hawkins was sentenced to 25 years in prison. It doesn't feel like enough, but at least he's off the streets. I still flinch when I hear the roar of a subway train. I take deep breaths before stepping onto a platform, always standing as far from the edge as possible. I survived that night by pure luck. Many others weren't as lucky. Every time I see my reflection, the scar on my forehead reminds me of how close I came to death. But it also reminds me of something else. I'm still here. I lived through it, and I refuse to let fear win. On New Year's Eve, Kamel Hawkins pushed 45-year-old music programmer and DJ Joseph Linsky onto the tracks of an oncoming train at a Manhattan subway station. Miraculously, Linsky survived, sustaining severe injuries, including a cracked skull, fractured ribs, and a ruptured spleen. Witnesses described Hawkins as acting erratically before the attack. He had a prior criminal history, including assault and robbery, and was quickly arrested at the scene. Prosecutors charged him with attempted murder and assault. Linsky later recalled the chilling moment Hawkins locked eyes with him before shoving him without warning. The train operator's quick reflexes prevented a fatal tragedy. The case highlighted concerns about repeat offenders and public safety in New York's subway system. Hawkins showed no remorse in court, and he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Linsky, though traumatized, vowed to move forward, grateful to have survived the near-death experience.